Hey guys, what is up? Pixels here. In today's video, I'm going to be giving an in-depth review of Evil Dead, the game, and I have spent, pretty much all weekend playing this game in beta, and it was a lot of fun. I literally don't know where the time went, honestly. I've never had so much fun actually playing a game. I've actually, there's been betas in the past where I've played, like, for, I'm a huge Gears of War fan. I never even used to spend that amount of time playing that beta compared to this one. Like, this is just ridiculous. How like this, I literally on like Saturday morning, I was just so excited to actually get out of bed and just start playing this game straight away. Like, I couldn't just hold back my excitement as I was playing it. It was just so good. It was like literally living up to the expectations that I was expecting, and yeah, I mean, there's been a few reviews online already from people, and they're all saying the same thing I am. Like, the game is awesome. There's some people obviously hating on the game. People are saying the combat stiff and things like that, but we're gonna get into that later on into the video. So yeah, like I said, people are saying the combat stiff, and these people obviously haven't seen like they haven't felt the game for themselves. They haven't played the game for themselves. It's far from stiff. They're obviously just seeing gameplay and they think, oh yeah, that's how the game is. Like slow turning and stuff. There's a reason why there was slow turning involved in the beta and stuff like that, and we'll get into that obviously later into the video. So let's begin. I've got a few categories I want to talk about. First things first, obviously, is graphics. Smoothness of gameplay and stuff like that. So obviously you've probably seen their own gameplay reveal videos and stuff like that. Maybe you've seen a leaked footage or something, but the graphics and the scenery and the atmosphere in this game is just absolutely insane. They nailed it to a T. You play on like different variants of the map is the same, but you play in different weather cycles and stuff. It's really awesome. So sometimes you can load in and it'll be in the snow. Sometimes you load in, it'll be like raining and thunder and lightning and stuff like that. It's just really awesome, and they got all the lighting spot on as well. There's no like areas where it's like too dark, and there's not areas where it's too bright. It's always just really, really nice. And you can see that sometimes you just walk and you just stop to like admire how good the game actually looks. Like, there'll be a time where like the sun's setting over the trees, and the snow's like on the ground, and the snow's on your character as well. Like, they got the effects down like really good on the characters, and yeah, it's just totally awesome. The graphics, the smoothness of gameplay. Like I said, people said it was like kind of stiff. These are the people obviously who haven't played it. I mean, there wasn't, because it's in beta, there wasn't options to increase your sensitivity or do anything with your control settings really. And obviously that happens a lot in some betas. They don't introduce that until like the final release, because they're still tweaking things. That was obviously, they could be like 3 builds ahead from what that beta was already. We wouldn't know. But like I said, like the beta is always separate from the game. They always design a beta like to just have like sort of, just to get a feel of the game. They don't actually put everything into it. There's obviously a lot of stuff that was missing out of the beta. Of course, we'll talk about that as well later on in the video. So, like I said, the smoothness of gameplay was really good. The only downside, there was some server lag, but again, that's to be expected because it is beta. There was only a few bugs I noticed as well, which is very surprisingly, because, with most betas, you kind of think like, oh, this thing's going to be buggy, that weapon's not going to work properly and stuff like that. It wasn't like that at all. The game, it kind of felt like a fully fledged game, but that's just been released. And they just had the odd things that needed fixing, like the very, very minute things. Like, so there's these crates around the map, and what they do is they spawn weapons. There'll be different rarity of weapons and stuff. Obviously we'll talk about the weapons and stuff later on, but sometimes the items out of the chests would go into the chest. They wouldn't fall out properly, so you couldn't pick them up, unfortunately. So that happened a couple of times. I mean, like I said, there wasn't many bugs. I mean, there was obviously animation glitches sometimes with, the executions being collisioned with other things. But most of the time, you just laugh at that. You don't like, oh, this is shit because my animation's bugged out or whatever. Like, it's just funny. Like, I mean, it didn't happen all the time, but when it did happen, it was funny. But generally, the executions and stuff are really good. I find I don't envy the person who has to try and polish that up. Like, oh, how can I actually polish up doing an execution animation on something that's going to be in collision, like on some stairs or a rock or something like that, or like a truck's going to be in the way. Like obviously I think they did a really good job of that without it bugging out, because there wasn't a time where I did an animation like an execution and I was unable to play the game afterwards. Obviously, like in some other games, that's been the case. Like, I mean, I've got to just pluck one out of the air, like Arkham Knight. You know, when you do like a finisher execution on them, sometimes like the game would actually bug out. You'd have to restart your game. That happened on full release as well. So, you know, that was just off the top of my head, but the executions were really good. I thought they did a really good job of that. General gunplay, I think the gunplay was really good as well. Like I said, you couldn't up your sensitivity, you couldn't turn vibration off or anything like that. That's the things I like to do. Usually, any game I play, I max out the sensitivity immediately, and I'll turn vibration off. But like I said, yeah, the gunplay was fine. Like it takes some getting used to, but once you get good with the weapons and the ranged characters, you can do a lot of DPS and a lot of damage to, like, you know, the boss characters and stuff. So again, like I said, the whole smoothness of gameplay was really good. You know, exploring the whole map as well. Sometimes it was, you know, the driving was just a little bit, you know, it needs a little bit tweaking, a little bit smoothing out, but it's nothing too bad. You know, I was able to have a lot of fun just driving around the map, no problem. Sometimes if someone else was driving, it did lag a little bit as well, but again, you know, it happens in all games like PUBG, where it's just like huge map and people are driving. Sometimes that does lag up as well. Like it's just one of those things when it's like a massive game, and you know, some people playing on older hardware systems while some people are playing on, like, you know, the next gen consoles. You know, sometimes you've got to wait for them old gen consoles to kind of catch up as well. But again, it wasn't much of an issue, and like I said, they'd probably be able to smooth that out and optimize the game a lot more before release. So yeah, I don't really think there's anything else I can really say about smoothness of gameplay. Like I said, it's pretty straightforward. I thought it was really good. I'd never noticed a single frame drop. Like literally on my Series X, the game run like a steady 4K 60 FPS. I think I never noticed a single frame drop other than on the server lag, which was really good to see. Like I think they've got the game pretty good, pretty goodly optimized. You know, it's not like you know, you go in this area and there's frame drops and stuff like that. That just doesn't happen. And you know, there was like other bugs on like certain characters, but again, we'll get into that later in the video. Of course, so this is probably just going to be like a podcast type of thing. You know, like it's going to be a really in-depth review going over everything in the game. That I can, you know, I wasn't sure if I was actually able to share this, but there's other videos on YouTube of people reviewing the game and actually discussing gameplay mechanics and characters and stuff like that. So I imagine I'm alright being able to, you know, share this type of information with everyone. As long as I just don't show any gameplay, that's fine. By the way, I've got a ton of content ready to go live once that embargo lifts. So moving on. So we're going to discuss about the classes in the game. So I really like this class mechanic, by the way. You kind of need a good balance in your team, because, you know, if you don't have a support character, you probably is going to have a rough time playing the game. It's not necessarily needed, because you can heal yourself with these colas that are around the map. You know, some people have said the colas are hard to find, but I didn't really have that much of an issue finding them. But like I said, sometimes it is helpful to have like a character like Cheryl who can throw down a healing and stuff like that. But anyways, let's get into the classes. We'll start at the top, which is leader. So you have 3 leader characters. You have Ash from Ash vs. Evil Dead. You have Annie Nobi, and you have Lord Arthur. And you know, we'll talk about them just briefly, because I'm obviously going to do a lot more in-depth character reviews and discussions about this game. So, you know, Ash is a really good leader. You know, he's like your overall character. You can obviously upgrade them as the game goes on as well. So, you know, when you find a chest, they spawn pink fuck, it's called. And so each bottle obviously gives you like a skill point to spend in game to upgrade your character as you're playing. And each time, this actually resets every time you play the game. So, you know, you don't like go out one game like really stacked up and then go into the next one's like already stacked up. This resets every time, which I think is really cool. It brings like a whole dynamic, like a new dynamic to the game whilst you're upgrading. And like I said, so Ash is like your overall character. He has like, you know, each character has like 4 perks that you can unlock. So you start off with 2 perks, and then level 10 you unlock the next one, and level 20 you unlock the final one. And then you also have all these little skill trees in each character that you can level up with skill points. And we're obviously going to get into the progression system later on in the video, but that's like the general feel of what you can expect with each character. So like I said, like at Ash, you can He can like spawn with his chainsaw at level 10. I can't remember what his level 20 was. I'll have to look. I think it buffs his his first ability. So his first ability reduces fear, and the fear as a mechanic in this game is very important. Again, we'll get into that later on in the game in the objectives. So we're just gonna keep talking about the classes. So yeah. So leaders, they'll have this aura around them, and it'll basically give each character like different buffs depending on what leader you're playing. So yeah, like I said, Ash like reduces fear. So yeah, Ash is like a good overall character. Like I said, he inflicts extra, like he gives people the ability to inflict like extra damage and increases their fear resistance as well, which is a really good perk. He also has like an ability that knocks the enemies back, which knocks off their balance bar. And so balance bar mechanics are actually really important in this game. It'll stagger the enemy, so you can actually do your executions a lot easier and do a lot more damage to them. So again, like it's a good perk, especially if you're swarmed by a lot of deadites, and you hit this ability and it'll knock them back and it'll stun them, like it'll push them away and it'll like stun them a little bit, so you can go in that attack a bit easier. And like I said, at level 10 he unlocks his chainsaw, which is really cool. But again, like I said, I'll go in depth with the characters and stuff later on in the future, because I do have a lot of character overviews and stuff already recorded. So moving on, anyways, the next one is Annie Nobi, and Annie is I think she's probably the weaker in the class. She buffs kind of range characters, like that's her kind of spec. She's just really really odd, and obviously Lord Arthur as well. Again, I think he's probably the best leader in the game, purely because I think the game's more based around melee damage and stuff. So using Lord Arthur, his aura obviously buffs everyone's melee damage, and he also starts with a sword as well. So like I said, I think Lord Arthur is probably like the best character on the leader category at least. So all right, moving on. So the next class is warrior. Warrior characters are really fun. I think they're really important to at least have one on your team. You can probably go with two and take away a ranged character. But like I said, warrior characters are based on melee damage and DPS. So you have 3 warrior characters. You have Army of Darkness Ash, you have Scotty, and you have Henry the Red. Now, Army of Darkness Ash, I've had the most fun with in the warrior category. I think he's probably without a doubt, probably the best character in the game. Purely because he has this whole shield regeneration thing around him. And so what shields are basically is like, on Fortnite or something like that. You have like the blue bar with the shields. So as you play in the game, you can actually increase the amount of shields you can have up to 4. I think you can actually go past that on some characters. But anyways, with Ash, the Army of Darkness Ash, every time you do an execution, that bar refills a little bit. And you do a lot of executions in this game. It isn't like, oh, it's a very odd thing to do. Like it occurs so frequently that it makes it worth doing this with Ash. His character is insane. Obviously, he has a potion as well, which can regenerate health, reduce your fear, as well as buffing his damage up as well. So, like I said, he's a really good character. There was a bit of a bug with him. Sometimes you drank the potion when you got hit, and you were unable to actually fight back, which was kind of annoying. But like I said, it was a very little bug. It was easily fixed if like you use an amulet. So like I said, with the shield thing, there's these amulets that are around the map, and if you find an amulet, you just press right on the D-pad, and then it applies it as a shield. Like I said, it's a very interesting mechanic to look around in the game, to have in the game, and you want to stack up on shields and health as much as possible in this game. So doing all the whole looting thing, running around the map, loot and find all these little items and stuff is really fun, and it's really enjoyable as well. And it's not like you have a dull moment either. It's just, oh, I'm just looting here, there's nothing happening. Every time you're looting something, it pretty much spawns deadites, like at least 2 deadites every time. And you've always got to fight them. Even if the demon isn't next to you, it'll still automatically spawn these deadites. So it's not like you can just run house to house without any combat. Like, it's literally about, 5 minutes into the game, not even that. Like, you'll search your first house, come out of it, and then boom, you're basically in combat straight away. So, yeah, anyways, moving on. I got a bit sidetracked from the classes, but the next warrior is Scotty. I've only played one game as Scotty. He was okay. he kind of has this like explosive ability when he kind of like blows up, and like, and obviously not just blows up, but like he does like an explosion around him type of thing, which knocks back the Deadites and also does damage to them. He was an okay one. He wasn't overly great. Like I said, I think Warrior Ash, Warrior Ash, I suppose you could just call him that. I'd suppose he's like the best character overall in general, like in the game, because he's got like the self-regeneration with healing. He's got the self-regeneration with the shield as well, so he's very hard to kill. He does a lot of damage as well. And once you get him at a higher level, he also does a lot more damage with his chainsaw as well, if you do find a chainsaw. So, like I said, I really would put him up there. I will do like a tier class, who I think was the best characters in the game and stuff like that. So, anyways, moving on to the last warrior, which was Henry the Red, and he's sort of like your tank character, who you want to bring into the team. You know, if you wanted someone to soak up all the damage the best you can, Henry the Red's definitely that character. I think he's, again, probably one of the better characters in the game. You know, you're probably not going to go wrong having a Henry in your game at all, because he can just put up so much health and shield that, and he also, his ability is like being invulnerable for a short amount of time, for I think it's about 7 or 6 seconds. So again, like he's in that tank role. He obviously he's going to be very difficult to kill, especially once you've like collected all like enough like pink fuck. It'll literally, like, you can buff his health up to a ridiculous amount, so that's awesome as well. All right, let's move on to the hunter category. So the hunters, we have Evil Dead 2 Ash, who's pretty good. We also have Ed. I also almost forgot him there, because Ed is probably the worst character in the game, unfortunately. They probably need to buff that guy up a little bit if they want people to play as him. We have Kelly and we have Amanda. Now, the most fun I've had in the hunter category was Kelly. These are the range characters, by the way, but there's this whole mechanic. So in the game, there is, you have a fear mechanic, you have your health, and you have stamina, and the shield. So, those are like these 4 things to focus on while playing Survivor. Survivor. So, playing as Kelly was really fun, because she has so much stamina, like to the point where you can pretty much run it, like, I don't know, halfway down the map and not even run out. Like, her stamina is insane. She's really fast as well, and her ability lets her dodge like infinite like amounts of time. So, for like, I think it's like for 4 seconds she can literally dodge and it won't use any stamina. It's really great. Like I said, I think Kelly is probably the best hunter in the game. And a lot of people, if you're looking to get into the game and stuff like that once it comes out, and you see this video, you probably, if you want to do a ranged character, you probably have to play Kelly. I mean, you can play the other ones; they're not bad, apart from Ed. But yeah, Kelly was definitely the best one. She does a lot of damage at range as well, and you can just constantly keep buffing her up as well. To just increase our range damage even more. And there's even, like I said, with the skill trees and stuff in the progression system, there's actually one where you can buff up the stamina, like increase it to, I think it was 25% or 35%, I'm not too sure. And so there's, like I said, I'll get into the progression system later, but like, yeah, so you can spec stamina around her, which was ideal. But anyways, Evil Dead 2 Ash, she has like a, when someone gets possessed of the demon, he has an ability to exorcise them, which is really good. Ed was like, the demons can place traps around the map. Ed uses a special flashlight to look at the traps and disarm them. And like his other abilities, like, rarer items might drop, or like better items might drop after executing a deadite or just killing a deadite. And he's spec'd around a crossbow as well. He's not the greatest. Like, the crossbow is not great. Obviously we'll get into the weapons and stuff later on as well. But yeah, Ed's not great. Obviously we discussed Kelly already, and Amanda was really good too. Amanda was really fun to play, purely because she has like infinite ammo as her ability. So once she presses her ability, I think it's like 6 or 7 seconds again, and she can just unload a clip. Just constantly shooting at the deadites, which is awesome. It really helps against bosses as well, because I think the range on against the bosses is really important, especially if you find like a really good shotgun or a good pistol, So yeah, those are the 4 hunters in the game. Like I said, I think Kelly's probably the best one. But I'm not going to go too in depth with each character at the moment because I kind of want to hold it out for later videos as well. Support, we have 3 supports. We have Evil Dead 1 Ash, we have Cheryl, and we have Pablo. Now, I played the most of Pablo because Pablo's spec'd around the whole shield mechanic, which is good. He throws an amulet on the floor, so then people can use them as shields, or you can use it for yourself, so he's really good for that. Of course, you look at it there, oh, he's good with the shield, so, maybe you want to put an Army of Darkness Ash in there because, then he's going to, always have shields as well. Or you can throw Henry the Red in there because, they're going to buff Henry the Red's health up with a lot of shield as well. So, like I said, I think Pablo's really good for that. He can also carry, like, extra colas, and the colas can do extra health, especially, I think there's an ability on him, I'm not 100% sure, but I think there was an ability where if you drank the cola, your teammates got the effect around them as well, so I think that was good as well. Evil Dead 1 Ash. Alright, I remember now. Evil Dead 1 Ash was spec'd around fear reduction, so when she used his ability, it reduced everyone's fear by 50, I think, which was a lot. I think every time he used the shield as well, they also got the effects around them, so yeah, he was an okay support. He wasn't great, but he's that one that reduces fear, which I think will be a good counter to Elagos, because Elagos is ridiculous in this game. I think Cheryl is the best support in general because she actually has a healing ring she can put down for everyone. So, once everyone's low on health, Cheryl can come in clutch immediately with that. I wouldn't be surprised if most Cheryl players actually get targeted off the demon a lot because, like I said, that healing circle is really clutch and it's really good. So, yeah, those are all the classes in the game. Those are all the characters so far that we have. I think, like I said, I'll do a tier list later on, discussing like who I think is the best characters, who I think the worst characters are, who's kind of mediocre. We'll get into that a lot at a later date. But yeah, those are the characters. Obviously, on the demon side, you have Henrietta, we have Evil Ash, and we have Elagos as well. So, we don't really want to get into these. Like, we pretty much know what these are about already. Like, Elagos has like the power of possession pretty much. He's probably the most powerful in the game so far. He probably needs a little tweak, if I'm honest, because he's a bit too overpowered. Henrietta is like your tank demon, and of course Evil Ash is like your army demon, so he can literally spawn so many skeletons, it's ridiculous. But yeah, those are like the three demons. I played demon on this game, by the way. I played 3 games. I played one of each. I won all 3 games. It is so fun playing demon. Like, I don't like playing killer role on any of these types of games, but playing the demon on this game, it's just so fun, like fucking with the survivors, like literally possessing trees, possessing cars and stuff, and putting little traps in the chests that they search. Like, it's so funny. Like, there's a few clips I got where I put some little ashes in the crate and they jumped out on someone. And it's just too funny, man. And like I said, I had them like a lot of fun playing demon. Even though I wasn't doing well in the game, like at the start of one game, I wasn't doing really well. I got to that end game boss fight that they have, and I literally just wiped the team with Elagos. Like, that's how powerful this guy is, by the way. And I did record that, so I will publish that as a video at a later date. So, anyways, moving on. On objectives. So these are the objectives in the game. Basically, you need to find 3 pieces of a map. It'll give you a little icon in the top right, or like a little statement in the top right, or an objective, or whatever you want to call it. And it'll tell you, like, find the piece of the map in such and such place, So, yeah, you need to go look over there. There is some characters that help you find the map a bit easier with in like a certain progress in their skill tree. So, like Ash in the leader role can actually detect objective items at a wider radius, and it happens for a few other characters as well. Like, I think it's, the whole classes and the leaders, they don't have different skill trees. This goes for all classes, by the way. Each class has their own skill tree. That's the best way I can put it. They, like, individual characters don't have their own skill, like, they do have their own skill trees, but they're all the same, if that makes sense. So, like, there'll be the whole section for leader will be the same on Ash, Annie, and Lord Arthur. In Warrior, their sections will be different. They'll have different perks they can spec in compared to leaders, but there will be some similar ones in there, and each one obviously has their own skill trees that you have to progress through. So, like I said, all the buffs of this, like the whole, like the skill nodes are the same on each character in that class, and so it obviously doesn't carry across each character. You've got to level them up individually. But yeah, that's the best way I can kind of explain it without showing anything. Anyways, moving on. So the objectives, like I said, and you find 3 pieces of the map. This location changes with each map that you find. They can be quite difficult to find, especially in early game. You're looking around for loot and stuff. You're not really paying too much attention. But, I think in early game, it's best to probably go on foot and loot on the way to these areas. And then, once you're kind of satisfied with the weapons and stuff that you have, you can then, get into a vehicle and then go to the next place, loot that area, grab that map, and then, rinse and repeat until, you've got all 3 maps. And then you move on to two objectives, and you can complete these in whatever order you want, or you can do them both at the same time if you do split up your team. Be wary when you do split up your team. One team will probably end up fighting the demon, and the other team will be ending up like by themselves and screwed. So, I mean, sometimes doing a 3, going for the page, or you can go like and 1 go for the dagger, or you can go like 2 and 2. It's kind of good. You have these different strategies in the game. I think it depends on what demon you're playing against, if I'm honest, because I think with Henrietta, if you go like 3 and 1 with Henrietta, that's probably fine. Or 2 and 2 is probably fine against Henrietta. But going like 2 and 2 against Elagos, that's just not going to work, because Elagos is just so powerful right now. It's ridiculous. And I think Evil Ash is kind of a bit powerful as well. So obviously if you're on comms and stuff and you think you just can handle yourselves, you have that ability to strategize and be able, like, oh, should we go and do this first? Should all 4 of us go and do that? Sometimes it pays for all 4 people to like just do one thing and then the other, because you are on a timer here. So each game has like a 30-minute timer to start off with. So that gives you, you need to, get your loot. You need to get the pieces of the map, and you need to complete the page and the dagger. So what happens with the page and the dagger is you get an icon on your map. So you just go over there and you need to defend the circle. So you go to collect the page and you defend the circle as you're trying to collect the pages. And the demons just constantly spawning stuff on you. He'll spawn the boss, he'll spawn elite deadites, he'll spawn normal deadites, he'll possess your survivors as well once their fear level's high enough. Like I said, like that's one of the mechanics in the game. So fear is like this purple bar on your bottom left with your health, and the only way to get this down really is either through abilities that people have on your team or for yourself, and finding lit areas. If areas are already lit, it goes down a lot slower, but obviously there is perks in the skill tree to buff that up a little bit. But mainly you have to go and start like a bonfire or something, which will decrease it a fast amount. But you can get jump scared and let off the killer, and he can put out like traps, and if you set off traps, then your fear level is going to go up a lot more. If he hits you with a tree and stuff like that, it also increases your fear level. So you're going to watch your fear level in this game. Obviously in these fights where you're like going against collecting the page, it's kind of difficult to get your fear down while you're fighting as well, so you will become possessed. And while you're possessed, you have no control of your character, you're just spectating. But it's really funny, it's like, oh, you don't get pissed off like, oh god, he's controlling me and like I can't play or anything. It's just funny watching him, like they'll just start shooting your teammates and stuff, and your teammates are like panicking like, oh, what the fuck's going on here? Like, it's really funny. But yeah, that's like the general thing of what you do when you're collecting the page and the dagger. It's just like this little battle, and it's so fun. Like it just goes, like, it can become like absolute chaos, especially depending on what level the demon's at in the game. But yeah, anyways, moving on to the last thing, which is the final fight. It feels like a raid boss sometimes. It goes ridiculous. Like, you think the last 2 fights are pretty intense. You get to this final fight, it's like the most intense thing ever. There's so many times my squad's been wiped out, and I've had to try and clutch it for them. Like, anyways, we'll talk about that in a second. But So basically the dark ones, you can actually see the dark ones before this final boss fight. You can actually find them on the map early. You can't really interact with them or anything, as far as I'm aware. I didn't go up to them. I was too afraid, I might die or whatever. But yeah, you can see them on the map before you do collect the page and the dagger. So basically you've got to use the dagger to obviously like send the dark ones back. So they have like they have like 3 health bar segments, and so you're basically just walking around in a circle, holding down Y, dragging the life bar down as much as you can, whilst also trying to dodge the demon boss, the deadites. Like they literally spawn armies of these things in the end game fight, and it's just like I said, there was no frame drops, and the amount of like deadites spawning, all these effects happening. It was just crazy, like how well the game actually ran with having all this shit happening on the screen. Like it's just pure mayhem and carnage at the end game fight, and it's not overwhelming either. Like you can look at it, you can be like 2 people could use the do the ability to drain the health, or you can and then you can have like 2 people killing all the ads and stuff like that. So I think like that's a good strategy. Like there's different ways you can play around the final boss fight as well. So like I said, the game like can play out differently almost every game. You can do different strategies and stuff like that. Of course, there is also one other mechanic I want to discuss. So if you die, basically you can be revived you can be revived on the floor, and then you'll bleed out, and then you'll this is bleeding out basically when you get knocked down. So yeah, you're bleeding out, and then your soul will spawn, and someone needs to collect your soul, and they can deliver it to an altar. That was kind of one of the bugs in the game, unfortunately, where if someone disconnected but they went down, you could still collect their soul and respawn them. But if your team died, it would still act as if they were alive, so the game wouldn't end, which was kind of annoying. But again, this is beta, it's something like that they'll probably fix, because I did play with a few of the devs whilst we were playing this beta, and they probably noticed these bugs for themselves and noticed like the server hitching and stuff. So I imagine it's on their radar for things that need to be fixed. And like I said, I just had a lot of fun doing this. So moving on, anyways, we're going to talk about the weapons in the game. So we have melee weapons, obviously, and we have ranged weapons. So we didn't get the whole selection of weapons from what we said. I think they said that we have 25 plus weapons. I think we probably only got about 10 off the top of my head. Maybe it's a little bit more. But anyways, the melee weapons, we had like a pickaxe, we had a meat hammer, we had a spiked baseball bat, we had an improvised spear, we had the chainsaw, of course. So that's 5 there for the melee weapons. We had a machete, we had a hand axe, we had a lumberjack axe. I'm trying to think, a sledgehammer. I think that was all the melee weapons. I think I might be missing one. Yeah, I think I'm missing. Oh, the combat knife as well. The combat knife wasn't good. Did I see the meat cleaver? The meat cleaver wasn't great either. So I think that's 11, right? So I think it was 11 melee weapons. Ranged, we had a hunting rifle, we had a double barrel, we had a pistol, we had a revolver, we had a saw gun, we had Ash's boomstick, of course. We had another shotgun that wasn't a double barrel, and I think that was it. Yeah, I think that was all the long range weapons in the game that I can remember. So, basically, there's them weapons in the game, and sometimes it doesn't even matter that you don't get like a blue, because there's different rarities. So there's like common, there's blue, there's purple, and then there's legendary. I found a few legendaries, which were really awesome, by the way. Oh, there was one other weapon. It was actually a blunderbuss, and the crossbow as well. Actually, I forgot about those because they were pretty bad for ranged weapons. So, yeah, we never got like the flamethrower or anything. So, like I said, that there's probably other stuff that's later to come into the game. So yeah, basically you have all the different rarities of weapons, and it didn't really matter. And obviously, like if the rarer the weapon was better, but you could still do damage with a common weapon like easily. Even the common chainsaw that you can spawn with on Leader Ash, by the way, was actually like really powerful. Like it still does a lot of damage even if it's just a common, but you can get rarer chainsaws through the game as well. I think the highest I got was a purple. I never got a legendary one. But yeah, the purple chainsaw was good when I did use that. Uh, we never got the crafting mechanic in the beta as well, and hopefully we do see that in final release. But there was these workbenches everywhere. They did have weapons on them, but they weren't great weapons. But you couldn't interact with them or anything. But I feel like there was just loads of them around the map to the point where I was thinking, yeah, these are probably going to be in the game as a mechanic, where it's like, you know, crafting and upgrading your current weapon that you have from a common to like a, you know, like a uncommon or a rare or an epic or a legendary or whatever the rarities were. So whatever they were called. So I think that they'll probably come into the game at a later date. So yeah, ranged was kind of difficult to play, but once you did get the knack of it, I think you could do a lot of damage, especially with headshots. Like some of them, I was just tanking the bosses with a legendary shotgun that I found. Like Evil Ash spawned, you know, I put about 5 shots into him and half of his health was gone with the legendary weapon. And the legendary weapons are not easy to find at all, by the way. You probably get one every like 5 games, maybe it's 10 games. It was insane. But yeah, they're really good weapons when you do get them. But yeah, like you usually will find like a blue or something, and the blues still do quite a bit of damage as well. But yeah, those were the weapons in the game. I might have missed a few, but like just going off the top of my head of what I remember, that was what was in the game. So let's move on. Anyways, we're going to talk about the progression system in the game. So I really like the progression system. It's not like, you know, every game you end, you can level up your character like instantly with a skill point. It wasn't like that. Even if you win, you still really wouldn't get enough points to level up your character, because I kind of want the game to have a bit of a grind to it. You know, I don't want to just end every game and just be like, oh, look, I can level up my character again. I can put a skill point in this category or something like that. I don't want the game to be like that. I really don't, because, you know, everyone will just get through all the characters really fast, and then, you know, you'll have nothing left to do really. But basically, you have like a player level in the game. So in the top right, you'll have a player level. And I think it's with every 10,000 XP increasing, that player level will go up. And it might be less than that. I can't remember what exactly the player XP was, but every time that goes up like a level, you get like 10,000 spirit points to spend. And what you can do with spirit points is you can then invest them into your characters. So with each level up to level 10 on the characters, it costs 10,000 spirit points. But if you do play that character in game, you also gain character XP that goes towards those levels as well. So just like I had my leader Ash at like level 12 at the end. I didn't play a whole lot of him because I was trying out all the different characters as well, but I think he was still my most played character. Anyways, I still I got him at level 11. I spent my spirit points in him, but sometimes I did level up at the end of the game as well with character XP. So like I said, there's obviously one XP bar, and there's 2 forms of way of leveling them up. You know, it's just from either playing them or spend it, like you can combine it with spirit points as well. So you can obviously play leader Ash if he's your most played character. You know, so you have a max level, you can still earn spirit points at the end of the game. You don't get a whole lot, maybe it's like 2,000, 1,000 to 3,000, I'd say you get, maybe it's a little bit more. So yeah, those are like the 2 forms and methods to actually leveling up your character, which is really good. Like I said, I want the game to be a little bit grindy. I don't want it to be just like an instant thing where it's like every time I end the game, I can put a skill point into my character, because that's just not what I want to do. But as we suggested earlier, we were going to talk about the what each character has. So I mean, we pretty much went over it before. You know, like each character will have 4 perks. They'll all start with 2 perks that they have, and then you can unlock the next 2 by going level 10, then level 20. Like I said, I think up to level 10, it was 10,000 XP each time, or 10,000 spirit points each time that you needed to spend. And that way you get a skill point each time you level them up. Once you get a level 10, it goes up to 30,000 XP, and then I didn't see what it was once you got up to 20. I'm not entirely sure what the level cap is either for each character. I imagine it's like level 50 or something, because like I said, there's different tiers on the So you have perks and you have skills. So there's different tiers on the skills that you can uh, level up. So it'll be like range weapon damage, and you can put that up like 3 or 4 tiers. Increase your stamina, and so you can put that up like by 3 tiers or 2 tiers. Like you can spec skill points and different things like that. So you can, I don't know if you can max out a character. You probably can. So just off the top of my head, that's probably about level 50 for each character, or maybe it's even level 100, who knows. I didn't really sit and count what perks, how many tiers each skill had. So yeah, like I said, you can literally spend hours and hours on this game. You will get a lot of skill points, but you won't get so much where you're just like, oh, I've leveled that character up in one day. It'll take a while. So yeah, I really like the progression system in this game. The main thing I've been like looking at when I've been leveling up characters is stamina, because I really think stamina overall as a mechanic is probably the most important in this game, purely because you need to keep it for dodging. You don't use stamina while you're attacking, by the way. I did notice that, even if you do your heavy attacks. So using your stamina is very key for dodging and running. Especially, you need to do a lot of running and dodging on this game. So speccing the stamina for your characters is probably like the key thing in this game, as well as like maybe health and shield and stuff. Damage will probably come into a later, like at the higher level stuff. You can get away in the game with not having any stuff really specced in damage or anything. So like I said, damage will probably come in a later play once like the demon has like a higher level of himself, and they're a bit more harder to take down, like with each deadite and stuff. So yeah, that's the progression system in the game, and I think that was pretty much it. And there's also a tutorial you can go through with each side as well. You can play the demon and the survivor. So yeah, I think I've gone into a lot of depth there. I can't, off the top of my head, I can't really think of anything else I wanted to talk about. Like I said, I've gone over all the mechanics in the game, all the things you need to look out for. Overall, I really enjoyed this beta. I'd honestly give it like a solid 9 out of 10, purely because, I mean, I said 10 out of 10 on my community post, but just with the few little niggly bugs that they need to tweak, like for a beta, like for me to see a 9 out of 10 on the beta, I think that's a really good thing. So I had a lot of fun playing with people over the weekend, talking on comms, like, oh yeah, let's go and do this. Let's, doing all these different strategies. And even though you're talking on comms, it's not going to really benefit you. Like, it does benefit you a little bit. Like, it does help your chances, but like, I've escaped as many as I have been on comms as I've played solo, honestly. You can, like, it's one of these games where you can actually sort of carry the team as well. Like, if your team's not that great, like yourself, you can just be like a tank. Like, the amount of times I clutched the game as Army of Darkness Ash on this was just insane. Like, and not just him, but Kelly. Like, oh yeah, and I forgot, talking about the objectives in the final fight. There's actually a final objective. So once you drain the Dark Ones down, you then have to defend the Necronomicon from being destroyed by the demon. And you got to defend that for 2 minutes as well. So it's, after all that chaos has happened, you've then got that to go on. And I mean, sometimes if there's like loads of people doing the Dark Ones, like banishing thing, then it can go away pretty quickly. And, the demon doesn't do a lot of damage to the Necronomicon. So, sometimes I've just literally waited out the timer with all my team dead. And, I've been able to win the game for us. So, yeah, like I said, I think the game is in a really good spot right now. In terms of a beta, like I was very impressed with it. I thought it was amazing. And, like I said, most people online said that, they found it stiff and stuff. It does take a while. Like, you do feel like you can't turn as quick, and that's purely because they didn't have sensitivity options in the game. But, I compensated for it. Like, I was able to increase my movement whilst that, like, I was looking while I was doing animations to move on to the next night of fight. Like, I was really like being like able to compensate for that. So I mean I was first on the team a lot of games. Like, I was doing really well in that game, and I really enjoyed it. I thought I was really good at it as well, so that's also a bonus. And there was one more thing as well I wanted to discuss. this actually caught us off guard a few times. But once you've done the page and the dagger, the map will shrink with a fog, which will kill you if you're in the fog, by the way. And there was a time we did the dagger, like the last objective. Once that's done and the dark ones spawn, like so you can actually defeat them, the map will instantly shrink. But you need to pay attention to where you are on the map, because if you've done like the final piece was like, you know, if you got the dagger in the top right corner of the map and the dark one spawned on like the south side of the map or something, like the ring will come in a lot faster on that side to shrink down. So you've got to be really wary of that. And like I said, you know, going through the pages, go collect the page and the dagger, will spawn a chest as well for your team. So you know, everyone can pick up the ping fuck and then they can spec it into their character as well. So like I said, it's kind of important that, you know, maybe it is better to stick together so that you can buff your characters up and you can win the fights a bit easier. So of course it saves time if you want to split and then go and just go for the final boss battle, but it'll probably make your characters a little bit weaker doing that if you want to go for the faster paced gameplay. But again, that could also make the demon a bit weaker because they, you know, they need to inflict damage and fear on you to and like to be able to level up their threat level. And obviously with each threat level with the demon, they can spec into making their deadites a bit stronger, like being able to spawn portals and stuff, putting their traps down that cost less energy and, you know, hold more infernal energy and stuff like that. So like I said, playing demon was actually really fun in this game too. It's like at the start of playing demon, it can be quite difficult to actually find like the survivors. So what I found was best was just to set some traps around, get my threat level up a little bit, and then, you know, wait for it to like give me a notification like, oh, there's a car being driven, it'll show you where they are, or like someone's made a loud noise, or like someone's being loud and it'll show you where them are as well. So yeah, I think that's all I've really got to talk about for the beta at the moment. I think, like I said, I gave in a lot of depth. There wasn't any outfits in the beta, unfortunately. I was hoping to see an outfit at least, but yeah, you could see like there was pages for the outfits and stuff, and it's going to be really awesome to see all the finished products in this game. So yeah, like I said, I'll give it about a 9 out of 10. I thought it was a really good beta. Hopefully they will do a beta on PS4 and PlayStation 5 and PC and stuff, so all you guys who haven't played it can experience it for yourselves as well. And hopefully you enjoyed the game as much as I did, because like I said, I just lost a lot of time this weekend playing this game. Like yesterday, I think I played nearly 13 hours of the game, and I just didn't even realize. Like I was just, oh my god, man! Like each game plays out like 35 minutes. So, like I said, there's plenty to do on the game, and it'll definitely keep you in the loop for a long time. You probably won't ever get bored of it, because I mean, like, people said it was repetitive and stuff, like with the fighting, and I'm just like, yeah, but what's the alternative game here? Like, what other game can you actually play? You can go play Dead by Daylight, that's going to be like this, where it's just like, I mean, what, sitting on a gen all the time? Like, that's not repetitive compared to this. Like, you know, I honestly didn't think it was repetitive at all. Like, you can literally, you know, if you're sick of playing the leader character, you can go and play in support and then just play a completely different play style, you know? Like, you probably just want to stick with your teammates a lot more for support and then, you know, buffing their heals up and things like that. So, yeah, like I said, there's different ways to play the game. It's definitely not repetitive, but, yeah, I'll leave it there, guys. I think it's a long video, but, you know, I went in depth with the game and give you guys my information as much as I can. Hopefully, you know, I'm allowed to share all this information, and like I said, as long as it doesn't show gameplay, I'll just be, you know, talking and discussing what I've actually played in the game and giving my overall thoughts and reviews. So yeah, hopefully I'm alright to do this. I've been wanting to do this for a while. I think maybe 50 minutes might be a bit long for everyone, but it's kind of like a podcast type of thing. So obviously, you know, people want to know as much as they can about the game, and I've kind of given you all my thoughts that I can give on it. So yeah, like I said, I've got a lot of content ready to go once that embargo gets lifted, so I'll be able to publish all this. I've got some 4K gameplay that you can check out. You know, you can check out all the scenery. You know, like, I've got so many matches that I've played through of each character as well. I've got gameplay for every character in the game as well, so I'll be able to publish that once that embargo gets lifted as well. And so, yeah, I'm going to leave it there, guys. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you liked what you heard about the game, leave me a like, leave me a comment, let me know what you guys think. If you guys played the game for yourselves, what do you think, how the beta went? And yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. I will see you guys next time, going over some more Evil Dead stuff. And of course, if you are new to the channel, I do stream on this channel, and I will be also streaming Evil Dead once it comes out, and you can hit that sub button and get notified for all my Evil Dead content too. So yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. I've been Pixels, you're my awesome viewers. I'll catch you guys in the next one.